spot, bringing stats like a kingpin. MMA knowledge, nieces, nephews all lean in. Breaking down fights, cold stat daddy supreme. On just a tip show, he's cooking up a dream. Uncle Weezy, he the man. Dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand. MMA guru, more than just a fan. Wanna know the numbers? Weezy got them cataloged. From the fighters reach down to how many times they dog. Just a tip living, breaking it down slick. Hit you with the knowledge, won't miss a single trick. Uncle Weezy, he the man. Dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand. MMA guru, more than just a fan. Balls, deep predictions, he be making those calls. Getting in the details, opponents feeling small. From jazz to takedowns, got the whole fight ID. Uncle Weezy spitting truth, no lie, keep it G. Blow the horn, blow the horn. Stat Daddy Weezy not showing no scorn. Fight Night Kingdom, he wearing the crown. Break it down for the peeps, never looking like a clown.
Oh, yes. What's going on, everybody? It is Thursday night. On Saturday morning, we've got UFC London, which is going to be headlined by Movsar Evloev and Laron Murphy to maybe get a title shot next if they win this fight. I don't think it's like officially a title eliminator or anything like that, but definitely a high-level fight in the UFC's featherweight division. Looking forward to breaking down this entire card with you guys. This is brought to you by the probability stats and content package that I provide, which is available on oddshopper.com. If you click on the link in the description of this video, it will get you 50% off your first month's membership. It'll get you access to my stats package, which has individual fighter stats, matchup stats, betting models for over-unders and prop bets, and fight write-ups, and access to the Discord, the track bets, and to all my subscriber-only content, which is only available on oddshopper.com. So check that out if you want to support the show. If not, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment down below. But we're going to go through this fairly quickly tonight, and then I'll talk with you guys in the chat. If you have any questions for me about this card, any questions that my stats packages can answer, put them in the chat right now, and we'll talk about it after I'm done breaking down this card for you guys. So I'm going to share my screen with you here. Here, let me do that. And we're going to talk about all 14 fights on this UFC London card. And like I said, I've got fight write-ups for these. I've got betting models for these. We've already done 2 shows on oddshopper.com where I broke down the full card and did a plus EV prop betting show. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to talk about these fights. So if you want to support it, check out the link in the description of the video. But let's get right into it here. And we're going to talk about the first fight of the night, which is going to be Melissa Mullins at plus 110 versus Luana Carolina at minus 130. Fight doesn't go to decision at plus 200 for this fight. So I am going with Melissa Mullins to win this fight by decision. I could also see her getting a finish. Definitely didn't like how Luana Carolina looked from bottom position in the last fight against Michelle Montague. That was 30-25 on one judge's scorecard, 30-26 on another, and then 29-26 on the third. So Luana Carolina is moving up from flyweight to bantamweight for this fight, making the long trip to London. You know, the crowd is going to be behind Mullins here because she's the local fighter. So I could see a bunch of different things outside the cage that are in Mullins' favor here. But obviously, Mullins is going to need to fight smart, which is, risky on betting on her to fight smart after that horrible performance against Železniakova. But hopefully she'll learn from that going forward and understands who she is as a fighter and what she needs to do in order to be successful. I think the physicality is going to matter in this fight. I think that Luana Carolina definitely has the striking advantage. But I don't think it's a massive striking advantage. Like, Luana Carolina is not just out there styling on these girls, easily winning minutes and banking rounds. she's going 50-50 with ladies like Lucy Pudilova. And, she's getting, having trouble stuffing takedowns from 115 pounders in Lupi Godinez, for instance. So Luana is a solid, fairly well-rounded fighter, definitely experienced and with good strength of schedule at the UFC level. But I don't think 135 is the right weight class for her. So I think Mullins, the hometown fighter here, is going to be looking to get this fight to the ground. And when she does, I think she's going to either, dominantly win those rounds. And if she doesn't, I think that Luana Carolina will probably win a close decision based on doing more and landing more at distance striking range. But I'm going with Melissa Mullins to win this fight by decision. The next fight that we're going to talk about is going to be Chanel Dyer versus Ravenna Oliveira. Chanel Dyer is -500. Ravenna plus 385. Fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at plus 190 for this fight. So I'm going with Dyer by decision. I could see a submission happening here, even though Chanel Dyer has never submitted anyone. Ravenna's ground game is really, really bad. I don't think Ravenna Oliveira should have ever been signed to the UFC in the first place. While Chanel Dyer is young, she's already got a pretty good amount of professional experience. And she's fought a better strength of schedule, definitely on the regional scene than Ravenna Oliveira did. And Ravenna Oliveira is making pure strikers look like good grapplers in Stephanie Luciano, in Tenora Lisboa. So Oliveira is going to swing for the fences. She's going to try to land big shots. Maybe she might try to mix in some wrestling. I don't think she's going to have any success anywhere. I think even Dyer might even be the better wrestler here. And I mean, that's not saying much. So I think Chanel Dyer is going to win this one. It's -500 on the money line. It's not a fight I'm going to have action on, just because even though I believe Dyer probably wins this fight over 80% of the time, that's kind of how I have it capped, because Oliveira should have never been here in the first place, and Dyer should be. Still, you're laying -500 on a debutante in a women's strawweight fight that is favored to go to decision 2/3 of the time. That means the judges get involved. There's a lot of risk when you're paying that kind of price tag, or when you're laying almost -150 on a decision prop. So I'm staying away from this one, and I'm pretty damn confident that Chanel Dyer is going to win this fight. But maybe Ravenna Oliveira will surprise us with a masterclass performance, but I don't think that that's going to happen, you guys. We got Shamrock going up against Abdul Karim Al-Selwady. Shamrock plus 101, Al-Selwady -120. Fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at plus 100. I don't want anything to do with this fight because Al-Selwady's a massive question mark right now. He's had a 2-year layoff due to multiple pullouts, spinal injury. He even had a fight where he was ready to fight, but his opponents pulled out against him. So Al-Selwady, there's potential ring rust. We don't know if he's entirely healthy. And he's a guy that I think fights with excellent IQ. I think he's got a great toolbox of weapons to go to. He can out-grapple good strikers. He can outstrike good grapplers. And he's got good offensive and defensive wrestling that allow him to and good footwork and movement on the feet that allow him to kind of dictate where the fight takes place. The problem with Al-Selwady is he's very, very chinny. He's been knocked out in all 4 of his professional losses. But Shamrock is not a guy that I worry about landing massive shots. I don't see him as a KO type of striker. So I think that Abdul Karim Al-Selwady, if we get a healthy version of him that's ready to fight, I think we're going to see him win the minutes, bank the rounds, and win this fight by decision. But that's making a massive assumption that I cannot make. I can't make that assumption. So I'm not going to pick Shamrock because I think Abdul Karim Al-Selwady is the better all-around fighter. I think he's got excellent fight IQ, and I think he'll be able to choose where this fight takes place depending on where he's having more success. So, but if he is not healthy, I don't think he's going to be able to do that, and then Shamrock probably wins. So since I don't know how Al-Selwady is going to perform and how healthy he is, it's not a fight I want to get my money behind, but I think Al-Selwady is a much better fighter, so I'm going to make the assumption that he's healthy, pick him to win by decision. Next fight that we're going to talk about, Louis Sutherland versus Brando Peričić. We got Sutherland plus 230, Brando, the Balkan Bear, is minus 270, and fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at minus 600 for this fight. I'm going with Peričić KO 1. Louis Sutherland's never been knocked out in his career. He's been very durable. He's more experienced than Peričić. He's fought the better brand of competition than Peričić has. And he's fighting at home in the United Kingdom. He's a Scotland-based fighter, while Peričić is going to be making the long trip from New Zealand all the way to London, and he just got in there this week. So there's a lot of outside the cage things that you have to worry about with Peričić. So I'm not a believer in laying minus 270 on his money line, because Sutherland does have a lot more experience going deep into fights. He's proven that he has good conditioning and good durability, so there is a good chance that he's going to be able to weather an early storm, potentially drag this fight into deep waters where Peričić doesn't have any experience. So it's going to be an interesting fight. Still kind of trying to figure out where Louis Sutherland fits in the UFC's heavyweight division, because he only has one fight. And then Brando Peričić fought a guy that really wasn't UFC level in his first UFC fight at home. Well, not necessarily at home. He's in Australia, not New Zealand, but still close enough to home where he's the hometown fighter, so to speak. This is a long trip this time, so I don't want to lay the juice on Peričić, but round 1 KO, sitting around plus 380 on Bet Rivers, plus 350 on Bet Online. I think that is a very bettable line, because that's how 80% of Brando Perisić's professional wins have come. That's how both his amateur wins came. He's a kickboxer with serious power in his strikes, and the easiest way for him to win fights is to land a big shot early and swarm and make the referee step in. And I think he's got a potential to do that here. But the longer this fight goes, I believe it's going to favor Sutherland more, because we know that this guy can go late in fights. We know that this guy's got conditioning to go a full 3 rounds. We know that this guy's durable, as he's never been finished in something like 16 professional fights. So interesting matchup here, but I like Peričić KO 1. I played it as a tracked bet this week. But Louis Sutherland, it's going to be interesting to see how he deals with this particular challenge here, and if he can weather that early storm, dragging into deep water where he might have a better chance of winning this fight. The next one we're going to talk about, we got Mantis Kondratavičius at minus 700 going up against professional poker player, part-time playboy Antonio Trócoli, who's the plus 525 underdog. The fight doesn't go to decision here, juice to the tits at minus 1,000, everybody. So I got Kondratavičius KO 1. I think it's a pretty simple prediction to make here. When we look at this guy's record here, so Kondratavičius has 8 professional fights. He has 6 knockouts, 2 submissions, and his 8 wins. So this guy finishes all of his wins, and his average fight time is only 4.5 minutes. And we're seeing Antonio Trócoli going out here getting submitted by Teresian Gore, getting submitted by Mansour Abdul Malik in the first round. And he's not a real fighter at this point in his career. He's really a poker player who still has a UFC contract that he's going to fight out, because they're going to pay him to show up and put his head into a guillotine. So at plus 525, according to my betting model here, that's a 16% implied probability that the markets are giving Antonio Trócoli to. That's the chance that they're giving him to win this fight, 16%. And my personal opinion is, if you says, Uncle Weezy, what % chance do you think Antonio Trócoli even cares about trying to win this fight? I would give you a number below 16%. I really would. I don't think that this guy is trying to win this fight. I think he's showing up for a show check, and he's probably going to take that show check to the casino and try to parlay it into a fortune. Same thing we try to do every Saturday watching these fights, you guys. So, I can sympathize with Trócoli. He's a gambling man. He likes to get ass. He likes to gamble. He occasionally likes to get into a fight as long as you pay him, We can all relate to that, you guys, but is he going to win this fight? No, this kid Mantis is he's knocking people out, and they're not getting up for a while, you guys. He's a pretty scary dude. They call this guy Drago because, you know, he resembles Ivan Drago from Rocky IV. So I think Kondratavičius is going to do horrible things to Trócoli. And I think Trócoli is going to beg him backstage, hey, I'm going to shoot a shit shot. Just put me in a guillotine and I'll make this real easy for you. I don't want a concussion. So we will see, man. Maybe Kondratavičius by sub at plus 380 might be live because Antonio Trócoli is probably going to want to grapple and he's going to probably want to get guillotined here so that he can not go home with a concussion. So I'm looking for Kondratavičius. I'm picking KO1, but there might be some value on the sub, you guys. Next fight is going to be another squash match here between Mario Pinto and Felipe Franco. Mario Pinto is minus 900. Felipe Franco plus 600. Fight doesn't go to decision, sitting at minus 600 for this fight. So Felipe Franco is one of these guys out of Galpao de Luta who pads his record so that he can get to the UFC. But, you know, padding your record to get to the UFC means that you're afraid to fight real fighters who can actually test you and actually let you know whether you deserve to be there or not. So Franco is one of these fraudulent fighters from Galpao de Luta who has fought fake competition in fake regional scene organizations. The one time he stepped up to fight somebody who took a fight on 1 week's notice and who was only had 3 professional fights, he wound up losing that fight, getting submitted with like less than 10 seconds left in the 3rd round. So Franco isn't UFC level, and Mario Pinto is a good striker, and he proved in the last fight against Janice that he can go out there and he can grapple. So this guy is a real prospect who's very young for the division. He's got a very well-rounded skill set. He can box, he can grapple. He looks to have pretty good conditioning, and he looks very comfortable in the cage. He doesn't look like he's in a rush in there. He doesn't look like he's trying to get to the door and just get out of there. He doesn't fight like he's double parked. He's very methodical, and he's very confident that the finish is going to present itself at some point when he's in there. And if it doesn't, he's going to confidently find places to use his well-rounded skill set to win the minutes and bank the rounds against you. So, yeah, Franco is probably going to try to take Pinto down early. I think Pinto should be able to probably stuff the takedowns because Franco is not a great wrestler. If he does that, I think he's going to eventually just find that chin at some point because Franco can't strike at all. So, yeah, fake fighter Felipe Franco is taking this fight on very short notice, up a weight class here, long trip from Brazil all the way to London to fight a guy that lives and trains in the UK. This is going to be a tough road to hoe for one Felipe Franco, and I think he's going to be Mario Pinto's hoe, and I think he's getting knocked the fuck out in round 1, ladies and germs. All right, let's move on to the next fight, which is going to be Nathaniel Wood versus Losine Keita. We got Wood plus 197, Keita minus 232. Fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at minus 130 for this fight. I'm going with Nathaniel Wood. Big step up in competition for Losine Keita. He is a pressure fighter. He moves forward. He looks to land bombs. And he doesn't waste a lot of energy. You know, he doesn't throw a lot of offensive output. He doesn't wrestle offensively, but he will keep walking forward. He's going to make you walk back, and he's going to look to really land big shots. He looks great in some fights. He looks okay in others. And I worry about what this weight cut is doing to him because he's bounced back and forth between 145 and 155. You could see it in the picture there. He's holding 2 belts. And that's because he's got the 145 and 155 pound championships in Octagon, which is a European promotion. So, yeah, there's a lot of hype on Losine Keita, and this is how much hype there is on Keita, okay? Here on the stats package that I send out to people, which you can be a part of if you click the link in the description, you can see who the biggest favorite was in his career, where he was priced as the biggest underdog. You can look at the last 5 fights and see, you know, where he's priced against guys like veterans like Andre Fili. He's minus 200. Muhammad Naimov, he was minus 330. Pineda, he was minus 360. He was like around to pick him against a very similar type of fighter in Morgan Charrier. He was a plus 130 underdog against Jose Delgado a very young, explosive, powerful fighter like Keita. He beats Charrier. He beats Delgado. He does it as a minus 105 pick'em, and then he does it as a plus 130 underdog. And now we're making Wood a plus 197 underdog. By far, the most cheap price we've ever seen him priced at, in this his 14th UFC fight. And you look at who this guy's been fighting, and it's like, are you going to tell me that Losine Keita is the toughest opponent he's had? He fought John Dodson. He fought Castaneda, Casey Kenny, Charles Jourdain, Andre Fili, Mohamed Naimov, Daniel Pineda, Morgan Charrier, Jose Delgado, and he's went 10 wins and 3 losses over this stretch. I mean, and like the Naimov fight was close. The Kenny fight was close. He got knocked out by John Dodson, who's an absolute killer at 135 pounds. But, you know, I just think that he's being really disrespected here by this line to suggest that Nathaniel Wood should be the biggest underdog ever against a guy who's making his UFC debut, you know, a guy who hasn't fought in 15 months, a guy who missed weight for his last fight by a pretty good amount. So I do think that this guy Keita has got some upside. He's young, he's explosive, he's got great measurables for the featherweight division, and he's very able to finish fights when he lands that big explosive shot. But if he doesn't land that shot, it's going to be tricky. And it's not like Wood hasn't been out there against a bunch of explosive guys with a ton of power just in his last 4 fights. So I think it's going to be Wood. I think it's going to be Wood by decision. It feels like a trap line because it doesn't. I mean, like low seed Keita shouldn't be anywhere near this size of a favorite. So I feel like the market knows something that I don't know, either bad about Wood or really good about Keita. But it is what it is. I like Nathaniel Wood to win this. I bet his money line. I bet his decision prop. And I think fight goes to decision at plus money is a good look as well. Next fight that we're going to talk about is going to be Mason Jones versus Axel Sola. Mason Jones minus 126, Sola plus 106. Fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at plus 120. I like this fight to go to the scorecards, and I think it's going to be extremely close. Mason Jones is a very durable fighter. Going to be almost impossible to knock this guy out. And Axel Sola is very defensively sound. He's got really good striking. Love the traditional martial arts, karate type style striking he has. Bladed stance, always up on his toes, always countering, always making you pay a price for admission. I think Sola is a really good fighter. I'm really looking forward to see how this guy's skill set plays out at the UFC level going forward. But I was impressed by his UFC debut. I was impressed by the tape in Aries FC. I like his striking. I think his grappling game is serviceable. But Mason Jones is the hometown fighter. And Mason Jones is not going to go away. He's not going to fuck off. He's not going to stop coming forward. He's not going to stop shooting takedowns. He's not going to stop staying in your face, putting you on the back foot, and just spamming volume, offensive volume with the striking in the clinch and the dirty boxing, initiating takedown attempts, scrambles on the mat, reversals. The guy just goes at you for the full 15 minutes. And I think his just much more offensive output that he brings to a fight is going to be enough for him to win this on the judges' scorecards. But as this line gets closer to minus 130, minus 140 Jones, I'm considering a bet on Sola because this was the hardest time I had picking a fight this week was this one. I really do think that Mason Jones is 51% to win and Sola's 49%. So as Sola gets closer to 115, 120 on the money line, I might even get involved for 1 unit, but I'm still picking Mason Jones to win this fight by a very close decision. Jones by split, Sola by split, and split. Shout out Tim Troiano. Those are some things that I'm looking at for this week. All right, you guys, next fight. We got Curtis the Pink Pounder Campbell at minus 235 going up against Danny El Pumer Silver at plus, 200? Fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at plus 130 for this fight. So I'm really interested to see how this goes for Curtis Campbell. My my thought is that I think Danny Silva is the side on the money line at plus 200 or better. Campbell has been fighting on the UK regional scene, not in Cage Warriors, but in another promotion called Full Contact. I think it's called like FCC or something like that. So I don't know how his wrestling and his ability to be able to get fights to the ground and keep them there is going to translate at the UFC level. And I'm worried about that because Campbell's relentless, you guys. He's relentless in going for that takedown. He's the kind of guy I feel like that may not get the first 9 takedowns, but he'll get the 10th. And when I watch this guy's tape, he categorically refuses to stand with people. Now, so I don't know what his striking is going to look like over extended stretches against certain type of fighters that it's going to be difficult. Like, you're not going to be able to find those easy takedown entries on a lot of UFC fighters. They know how to discourage that stuff. They know how to feint to make you think twice about shooting. They know, like the types of takedowns that you favor, and they know how to circle and how to defend and how to feint to discourage you from trying to do what you're comfortable doing. So I think that this is going to be a great litmus test for Curtis Campbell to decide, because this guy has looked so good on the regional scene. He's such a promising prospect at only 23 years of age. So I think this is the perfect test for him, you guys. Danny Silva, not the best grappler in the world, but he's got okay takedown defense, but he gets back up. He makes you work. He can get takedowns of his own. He's got good conditioning. He's got good boxing. Even more importantly, what I really like, he's a pressure fighter. And it's always more difficult to time takedowns and to get in deep on somebody's hips or on a single or double leg when you're the one being pushed backwards. When you're the one moving forward, that makes it so much easier when you already have the guy on his back foot. You put them in a state of perpetually defending. But Silva is very difficult to back up. So I'm interested to see how this fight plays out. Does Curtis Campbell have a plan B? Can he win minutes with his striking? Can he win minutes in the clinch if the takedowns aren't coming? What if he's getting the takedowns, but he's not landing anything of significance when he gets on top, and it's just kind of like up, down, up, down, up, down. But then when there's separation, Silva's landing the damaging shots. We've seen fights like, for instance, Yi Jia versus Jun Yong Lee when they fought. Yi Jia shot like 17 takedowns. He got like 9 of them. He got like 9 minutes of control time, but somehow Jun Yong Lee won a split decision there. And it was because during those 30 seconds that they weren't just locked up on the fence somewhere, Jun Yong Lee landed a couple of crisp shots, and they just threw out everything else, that all the control time of Yi Jia. And you never know who the judges are that are going to be judging the fight. So it's going to be interesting, man. I think that the steam is going to continue to come in on Campbell. There's a ton of hype on this kid at only 23 years old, and for very good reason. This kid's tape looks phenomenal on the regional scene. How does it translate at the UFC level against a tough opponent like Danny Silva? We're going to find out on Saturday. I am trusting Campbell to be relentless enough with the wrestling that I think what he can do is put Silva in a state of perpetually defending, where maybe it's not pretty, but this fight goes to decision. So I like the overs for this fight, because I don't think Campbell's going to find the kind of positional success that he was finding against lower level fighters on a second-rate English promotion. So we're going to see. Love this fight. Can't wait to see this one. Great stylistic matchup. I'm leaning Danny Silva on the money line as the play, but I really want to see how Curtis Campbell's grappling translates at the UFC level. Next fight that we're going to talk about, Roman Dolidze versus Christian Leroy Duncan. We got Leroy Duncan minus 500 or 83.3% implied over a tough veteran in Roman Dolidze, who's got power on the feet. He's got a good clinch game, and he's got a very opportunistic submission game when fights go to the mat. So I think it's a horrible matchup for Roman, right? Because Roman is not very fast. He's more of a plotter. He's, and he's not a very aggressive offensive wrestler. So, I feel like if Roman tries a couple of takedowns and can't find them, he'll be fine just kind of being in the clinch against Duncan. And frankly, I think Duncan's going to do better in the clinch. Also, Roman's been struggling with back problems, and that's something that at his age, if he's not healed from that, if he's unable to go 100% in training against a much younger, more athletic, faster, more explosive, more fluid fighter like Christian Leroy Duncan, it's just going to be really tricky for Dolidze to find openings in order to either score points, get takedowns, or land that big shot against him. So I think Duncan's going to be the first person to knock out Roman Dolidze at the UFC level. The guy is always looking for the KO. And I think there's going to be a spinning back fist, a spinning elbow, something that lands. And when it does, Roman won't go away right away, but Christian's going to swarm and finish him. And I mean, he could do it with just about any of the tools in his arsenal because he has such a deep arsenal of wild attacks, and he's just so athletic and that he can throw any of them and look good doing it. So I'm interested to see how Duncan looks in this fight, but this is a good step up in competition. But beating a young up and coming guy like Tulio in the last fight was a real eye opener. I think Christian Leroy Duncan's starting to potentially fulfill that potential that we all thought maybe he had before the Petrosian fight, that we all thought he had before the Gregory Rodriguez fight. But here he goes once again, getting that step up in competition. And the last two times he really stepped up, he didn't meet the expectations of the market. And this is another one. But I think Roman's getting older, and I think there are health concerns potentially with Roman Dolidze with his back. So if that's the case, I think Christian is going to not only win this fight, but I think he's going to finish Roman Dolidze. Next fight, we got Iwo Baraniewski at -600 going up against Austin Lane at +450, and the fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at -1200. So Austin Lane, career heavyweight, usually would weigh in the 240s, is now cutting down to 205 pounds for this fight, and he's a very, very large man to be doing that. He's kind of got like Kennedy and Zechiku dimensions, Ryan Spann type dimensions. And so I think he'll actually be able to make 205. I don't, like these guys have got access to some really smart people at the PI and stuff like that. And, I don't think Austin Lane will be cutting down to 205 unless he had some, smart people around him that were telling him, yeah, you could do it. It's going to suck. You're going to fucking hate it. And you're probably going to be more susceptible to getting knocked out, but maybe Austin Lane can cut down to 205 successfully. And if he does that, you guys, then, you have to respect the size and length that this guy's going to be bringing to this division. But when you've been knocked out 6 times as a professional, and it's like not like they're standing knockouts, it's and the ref stepped in, it's like, hey, get off of him. I think you killed him. Those are the kind of knockouts that Austin Lane has been getting served with. So don't like this fight for him. Obviously, this is with him cutting down. It's gonna remove durability. It's gonna lessen his ability to take a punch, which he already is not very good at. But Baraniewski's got power. He showed that he's pretty durable in the Ibo Aslan fight, and Ibo's got a ton of power. He knocks everybody out when he wins. So I think Baraniewski, there's a big youth thing here going on where you got like a 10+ year age difference. You've got a big durability differential between these two fighters. And I think Baraniewski having something like 20 amateur fights, it's nice to be able to lean on knowing that his pro experience is so limited. So I think Baraniewski gets him out of there, man. We can't trust Austin Lane's chin in a division where people hit extremely hard. And I just don't think that he's good enough anywhere else to disguise that big gaping hole in his defense, which is his ability to take a punch. So going with Baraniewski round 1. Michael Page versus Sam Patterson. We got Page -180, Patterson +155. Fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at -170. I'm not going to be getting involved in this one. I could see a Page decision where he just frustrates the shit out of Patterson and does what he does to everybody at distance striking range, which is just touch, go, touch, go, style on you, taunt you, and just never be there to be hit. I could also see Page landing a big shot early and getting Sam Patterson out of there because Sam Patterson has 2 professional losses. They both are by first-round knockout. And he's been knocked out brutally both times, but both times at 155. So I think his durability is a lot better up here at 170. And I also think that Sam Patterson, if he's fighting smart, is just going to refuse to strike with this dude. Even if you're not comfortable wrestling offensively, you just can't be at distance striking range with Michael Page and be okay with it, because Page is just too difficult to deal with out there. I mean, look at it. Look at Page's last 4 opponents, right? Let's check this out. If I go to the fight write-up that I did here. The last 4 are Jared Cannonier, great striker. Shera Magomedov, great striker. Ian Gary, great striker. Kevin Holland, great striker. And, you know, Gary had to grapple the shit out of him in order to win that fight, and he still barely won it. You know, Cannonier was looking to grapple in all 3 rounds and was only able to really get a takedown and some top time in round number 3. But he got dropped in round 1. He got dropped in round 2. You know, Shara, who's a really good kickboxer, you know, I mean, that's what he does. He's got no grappling game. He's a pure kickboxer. You know, Page outdid him, beat him 29-28 in Abu Dhabi. So it was clean enough that the judges gave it to him. Kevin Holland, I mean, obviously he just toyed with Kevin Holland. So, you know, this is going to be really a huge step up in level of striking for Sam Patterson, and for Page to get Patterson in comparison to guys like Cannonier and Magomedov. This is a step down for him. So I think Page wins this fight. I also like the what my betting model likes here for the over-under fights, or for the over-under bets on this one. Right here, fight doesn't start round 2 at plus 285. It's a trifecta bet on my template. Now, all 4 of Sam or Michael Page's fights have went to decision at the UFC level, but outside the UFC level, 13 of 20 ended in round 1. He's very explosive and precise early. And Sam Patterson has had 5 UFC fights. They've all ended in round 1, you guys. So why not take a shot on fight doesn't start round 2? Because not only can Patterson potentially get a takedown, get to his back, and finish with a submission, because he's got a really good ability to finish chokes at this level. Michael Page can hurt him on the way in, and hurt him in a way that he's not coming back from that. Patterson's not known for his durability. So I think one of my favorite plays for this, even though I think this fight goes to decision and Page wins it, is that fight doesn't start round 2 at plus 285. Very much underpriced according to my model, and I see quite a bit of value there, you guys. But the pick, like I said, is Page to kind of camp out at distance. Sam is not known for being relentless with wrestling, and he's spent more than 80% of his octagon time at distance striking range. So stylistically, I have to side with Michael Page here. Co-main event, Luke Riley versus Aswell. Riley minus 190. He was minus 300 earlier in the week. So there's a steady stream of money coming in right now on Michael Aswell, who is now plus 165. And the fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at plus 105. I like this fight to go the full 15 minutes. Riley's durable. Michael Aswell is very durable. And I think that these guys are going to scrap. I think it won't be a comfortable over, but I think that both of these guys, you can count on their durability. You know, Riley still hasn't been tested at the UFC level. And with the Texas kid, you're getting a guy with great pressure, great volume, great durability. He's going to make you fight him. He's going to be there for the full 15 minutes. He's going to stay in your face. So, but Riley's a sniper. You know, Riley is a sniper. And while I could see Aswell winning the minutes here and doing more and landing more, I could also see Riley landing the bigger shots. And obviously with the crowd backing Riley, this is the co-main event. The place is going to be full, right? And at this point, a lot of those scousers are going to be nice and drunk in there, you know. And Luke Riley being a guy that trains over there in Liverpool, I think they're going to have some fun. I think they're going to bring the house down. I think the crowd's going to be going nuts for this fight, and they're going to be so loud anytime Riley even looks like he's landing something of value. So I think that even if Aswell does more, lands more, wins the fight, he might not win it on the judges' scorecards. Think about it, you guys. This guy Riley, co-main event in his second UFC fight. Think about that. You know, that they're ready to put this guy in a place where he's going to have eyes on him. So I think they might pull a Paddy Pimblett here with Curtis Campbell. I think they might pull a Paddy Pimblett here with Luke Riley. They might lose these fights, but then get them awarded on the judges' scorecards. So I like Riley to win this one by decision, but Michael Aswell is going to give Riley a really good test here, and I think it's going to be a pretty close fight. But I think Riley does more damage. He's a little bit more scary, while Aswell is a little bit busier of a fighter that's going to stay in your face and pressure you and really kind of scrap. So very interesting fight there. Main event of the evening, you guys. Movsar Evloev going up against Laron Murphy. There's been a steady stream of money coming in on Laron Murphy today, as Evloev was sitting around minus 280 earlier this week. And right now, Evloev on Bet Online is sitting at minus 225. So good amount of money coming in here on Laron Murphy. I'm not exactly sure why that is. If anyone in the chat knows, let me know. But I'm going with Evloev. I'm going with Evloev by decision. I think Evloev and Laron Murphy are going to be very well matched at distance striking range. Evloev's striking is consistently underrated. He closes distance very fast. He puts combinations together, and the threat of the wrestling, is always something that where you can't really sit down and really try to hurt this guy bad with your strikes, because if you do, he ducks under and he gets you to the ground. And once he gets you to the ground, his submission defense is phenomenal. His control is good. His ground and pound is above average. And he just knows how to get himself into those situations where he can get the takedowns, even if you're stuffing him, like in the Arnold Allen fight. Evloev has almost no success getting Allen to the ground. Like, he's getting credited with takedowns, but he's not keeping him down. Allen keeps getting right back up. But then you see him go out there and win the second round with his striking. He got no meaningful control time in the second round at all, but he went out there and he outboxed Arnold Allen, and it's because of the way that he blends the phases of his skill set. Evloev's a masterful fighter, you guys. And Laron Murphy, both of these guys are undefeated, so they're both extremely good at what they do. And Laron Murphy might get taken down, but like Arnold Allen did, he's going to get back up. He's going to keep fighting. But Laron Murphy and Arnold Allen, I think their takedown defenses, there's a big difference between the two. And Laron Murphy has consistently shown what I would call below average takedown defense for the division. When he fought Tukagov, he kind of got, I know that was a long time ago, but still it happened. He got rinsed there. When he fought Makwan Amirkhani, who has one good round in him, Amirkhani drowned him in round one. When he fought Gabriel Santos, he gave up 5 or 6 takedowns in that fight and a lot of control time. And let's face it, Evloev, if he gets to the positions that Gabriel got to, he's, Murphy's staying down for a lot longer. And then also we saw it with Pico. Pico was looking great up until that elbow. He was mixing in the takedowns, getting Laron Murphy down. And then I think even one of the more recent fights too. Let me find it. PP, there it is. No, it was just so it was Pico, Amirkhani, Santos, and Tukagov. And those are the guys who grappled him. And then if you look at the other guys, Emmett never grapples. Ige never grapples. Barboza never grapples. Kulabau never grapples. So, and Murphy's not typically somebody that shows a lot of power. He knocked out Ricardo Ramos, but obviously that crazy KO against Aaron Pico, but other than that, Murphy couldn't even knock out Barboza, who's like 50. He had 5 rounds to do it. So the thing about Evloev is he's not going to go away. He's extremely durable. He's got phenomenal conditioning. So I like Evloev's ability to win the minutes of this fight, because I think that the striking is actually going to be very close to 50-50. Obviously, I do favor Murphy. He's taller. He's longer. He's faster. He switches stances. He's just a little bit more fluid than Evloev. But Evloev just does such a great job of mixing his striking with his wrestling. And mixing, like, he'll feint takedowns to land strikes. He'll feint strikes or throw strikes to set up takedowns. and he's always mixing the two, and he doesn't get discouraged if he doesn't get a takedown. He just mixes in another one and then another one. So Laurent, this is not the type of fight that he's meant to win at this level. He doesn't have the kind of power in order to steal rounds back unless he just lands a nuke like he did on Pico. But, those landing, spinning back elbow finishes they're tricky. You're not going to find them every fight. So Movsar Evloev, I think, is going to dominate this fight, you guys. I think he's going to look a lot better on the feet than people expect him to. And then I think the threat of the wrestling, the constant threat of the wrestling, is going to make Laurent Murphy a lot less effective on the feet than we're normally used to seeing him against opponents like Emmett and Ige and Barbosa and Kulabau, where he didn't have to worry about whether those guys were going to shoot a takedown. So going with Evloev, and Evloev by decision, you guys. So that takes us through the entire card. So I'm going to give you guys my dog pick of the week. I'm going to give you guys Uncle Wheezy's ass shaving of the week, which is my most confident pick of the week. And then I'm going to give you guys a Greasy 4-leg parlay that's got some meat on the bone so we can watch the whole card, enjoy it, and then hopefully cash like a nice plus 600 after the last fight of the night. So the Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week this week is going to be the Nathaniel Wood money line. There were 4 people that I was interested in taking this week. I think Melissa Mullins at plus money is very interesting. I think Axel Sola at plus money is very interesting this week. Obviously Wood. And then I also think Danny Silva at plus 200. I think he can. We're going to find out how good Campbell's wrestling is at this level, not in a second-rate English promotion. So I think those are the 4 money lines, underdogs that I would consider betting this week is Sola, Silva, Nathaniel Wood, and Melissa Mullins. And we're making the dog pick this week, Nathaniel Wood. I feel like it's a trap line. I feel like there's something I'm missing here because I don't get how you get Nathaniel Wood to plus 200 here against a completely unproven and frankly not even tested fighter in Losine Keita, who's on a 15-month layoff coming into this fight. So definitely like the Wood spot. I got 1 unit on the money line at plus 197, and I got a half unit on his decision prop at plus 400. Which then it takes us to the most confident pick of the week. It's going to be Uncle Wheezy's ass shaving of the week. Who's going to win and win in dominant fashion? And I normally say, like, who's going to leave their opponent, like, just lifeless on the canvas? But what I realized is that when you look at what Charles Oliveira did to Max Holloway a couple weeks ago, when you look at what Mikey Orlby did to Chris Curtis last week. I mean, those are dominant performances. They might not be boring, but they might be boring, but if you bet on Charles Oliveira, you weren't bored. You were sitting back, just laughing your ass off, enjoying the bet that you made. Same thing with Orlby. He never gave Chris Curtis a chance to breathe. Gave him 5 seconds at the end of the 3rd round to try to land a bomb, and then he couldn't even throw. So I think that when we talk about the ass shaving of the week, it's something that we want to be a dominant win, and I'm willing to take something that might result in a decision, but also looks dominant. And that's why this week, Uncle Wheezy's ass shaving of the week is going to be Movsar Evloev to shave the ass of Laurent Murphy. I think he's going to travel to the UK. I think he is going to put on a master class of minute winning. I think he's going to land good big shots on the feet. I think he's going to constantly wrestle Murphy. I don't think he's going to get tired. I think even if Murphy lands a nuke, Evloev is going to eat it like a potato and keep going. Yeah, I think Movsar Evloev is going to look really, really good here. And there might be something that I'm missing here because there is money coming in on Laurent Murphy. And I know that there were some rumors, like Gene Silva keeps talking about, like how he's ready and, this and that. So I think people are speculating that Evloev might be banged up. But I mean, like when you look at the pictures of him, I don't know. Like, I think the needle that he sticks in his ass to shoot steroids is the one that gets hurt, like putting into that body. Like this guy, I think, is going to be one of these Russian fighters that just, maybe he's not the most exciting fighter, but these are the guys you want to back with your money. So I'm going with Movsar Evloev to shave the ass of Laurent Murphy. That's your Uncle Wheezy's ass shaving of the week. So let's do a 4-leg parlay. Let's make it greasy so that we can put together 4 legs here and cash this thing. The first thing that we're going to do is a money line, and it is something that I like quite a bit this week. I have bet it. It is the Melissa Mullins money line. I think it's a great bounce back spot for Melissa Mullins in this spot. She's the much better grappler. I think that the striking exchanges are going to be actually fairly close here. And while Luana Carolina has historically been the better clinch fighter, we have to remember that that was at 125 and not 135. I think physicality matters, especially at 135 pounds. And when I'm getting the more physical fighter, and I think in this fight, when you look at Carolina minus 130, Mullins plus 110, I think one of these fighters has a chance to look dominant here. And that's Melissa Mullins. We know that if she gets you into it, if she gets you down, gets into top position, she can finish fights from there. So very high level, no-gi grappling background, BJJ background for Mullins. And she hopefully learned her lesson from her horrible fight IQ in her last performance against Daria Železniakova. And if she's serious about winning, she's going to grapple here. And if she grapples here, I think she's easily going to win 2 out of these 3 rounds, bank a decision for us. And if she gets to a dominant position on the mat, I think she's fully capable of finishing Luana Carolina, who just looked absolutely lost on the ground against a big physical grappler in her last fight. Got 30-25 by a grappler in Melissa Montague, who was making her UFC debut. So like the Melissa Mullins money line here at plus 110, I think she's going to run through Luana Carolina if she gets takedowns and gets to dominant positions. The leg 2 that we like here is I like the over 2.5 rounds for Nathaniel Wood versus Losine Keita. Like I said, Keita's got to prove it to me that he can get knockouts at the UFC level and not just against some guys in Octagon. Wood is a guy that people always talk about how badly he gets hurt in fights, but he recovers extremely quickly. He's never been finished since he moved up to 145 pounds, and he's 5-1 up here. So I think one of the things that people keep missing with Wood is that he doesn't have great finishing instincts, but he's so fast, and these featherweights aren't used to his speed. And I think a lot of people are assuming that Keita is going to be faster, but Wood is very economical with his movement. He's not a guy that's just spinning around the cage, never stops moving. Wood stands right in front of you, and he moves his head just a little bit side to side, and every time you throw, he's countering. So I could see Wood really frustrating Keita because I don't know if Keita's going to, I don't know if he's going to back up. I mean, it's hard to back Nathaniel Wood up. It really is. So Keita's going to need to probably walk on to some big shots here. But he's been durable. He's never been finished. Well, he lost due to an injury once. That's his only loss. And then Wood's been pretty durable up here. So maybe Keita finds a finish at the UFC level. Maybe he's as good as a lot of people seem to think that he is. But he's got to prove it to me. And Wood is a guy who I think is going to be able to mix in the wrestling here, get some top time, work some clock there. So I don't see a lot of finish upside on the Wood side. And I think he's going to win this fight. So I don't think Wood's going to get finished. So I like the over 2.5 rounds here at minus 147. So where is that one? There it is. And it's minus 133. So we're getting an even better price there for the over 2.5 rounds. So this is once again, like I might be completely missing this. Like Losine Keita might just go out there and absolutely nuke Nathaniel Wood. And that's what the market thinks is going to happen because there's money coming in on Keita. They're pushing Wood to plus 200. There's money coming in like Keita's a sure thing to finish. So minus 133, I think, is a really good line. That brings this 2-leg parlay up to plus 268. Leg number 3, 2 very durable guys that I think are going to go to decision. So leg number 3 is going to be Axel Sola versus Mason Jones. The over 2.5 rounds there is sitting at minus 205. Mason Jones has never been finished as a professional. Axel Sola has never lost as a professional. And from what I've seen, both of these guys have got good durability. They can both absolutely take shots. And they're both good enough grapplers that I don't think either one of them is going to be able to put the other one in bad enough spots to try to find a finish. So I like the over in this one too. Traditionally, we've seen a lot of overs hit in London. I don't know why, but those cards have been very non-violent. So I've been looking for some good over spots to play this week. I like Sola Jones. I like Keita Wood over. I like the over in Aswell versus Riley. I like the over in Murphy versus Evloev. And I like the over in Danny Silva versus Curtis Campbell. Those are all spots that I'm considering this week. And then the last leg, it's going to be Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. And now that we're getting him at a much better price here at minus 225, that will bring this 4-leg parlay up to plus 691 on Bet Online Sportsbook. I think we got 3/4 of the way home last week, you guys. We did. And then we needed Jose Delgado Philly fight to end under 1.5 rounds, and it didn't happen. So we're looking to cash this one. I want this one, plus 691. Let's get it, you guys. Melissa Mullins beats Luana Carolina at home. Movsar Evloev puts on a grappling masterclass against Laron Murphy. And then Keita Wood goes over. Sola Jones goes over. And we cash a plus 691. What's up with you guys in the chat? I see 147 live viewers right now. We're 56 minutes in. Time to talk to the chat. See what you guys are doing. What do you got for your Uncle Weezy here? You guys got any questions for me? Put them in the chat. We got my guy Sam is in here saying, "Oi, what is up, Sam?" Sam joined me today on Propability, which is the Plus EV prop betting show that I do for my Propability stats and content package subscribers. I'm going to put that streaming on the thing here because that's what the sponsor of this show is, you guys. It's sponsored by me, your Uncle Weezy. You know, these smoking jackets, they don't pay for themselves. You know, the computer screens, the computers, they don't pay for themselves. All the subscriptions to Paramount Plus, to ESPN Fight Pass, to the tape index, all this stuff don't pay for itself. So join the Probability Stats and Content Package. Link is in the description here. Be like our guy Sam, who's saying oi. And he's, like I said, he's the one that joined us today to give out some props, to find some probability parlays. And he's saying join the Discord ninjas. Check me out on OddsShopper, you guys. That's the best way to support the work. Sonny is saying this will be a fun fight. He said that he's got Dyer, Pinto, Keith, and Duncan KO round 1. Very, very good. I've got all of them winning too, so I think that's going to be a good one. I think that works this week. We got Left for Dead in the room with the money stack. What is up, Left for Dead? We got the High Owl in the room saying, "Oi!" Yes, was a fun ride with Harry Hardwick last week, Unc. I felt like he was so close to taking over, but the ref for sure had money on Rahiki. Of course he did. Of course he did. And had to save his own skin. It happens all the time. And he's saying the corruption, such a sad part of our society. It didn't work out for us, man. The Harry Hardwick bet did not work out for us. It looked like he might have had him on the run there a little bit, but Rahiki broke his jaw. And you're not coming back to fight more with a broken jaw, dude. No thanks. So Harry Hardwick put on a show, though. That was an awesome fight. Big up Marwan Rahiki. Big up Harry Hardwick. That was a crazy fight. We were going nuts watching that one with DFS by the numbers on the watch along that we do on his channel every week. We got Forrest Daniel saying, what fight card from top to bottom is better, UFC London or UFC Seattle? Also, what is the most English thing that you've ever said or did? Well, I've never been to England, but always was a huge Oasis fan. Always was a huge fan of British music, especially back in college. Liked a lot of bands that were coming out of England back then. A lot of the shoegaze stuff. Listened to so much of that. And then a lot of, obviously, good house music was coming from that part of the world as well. So most English thing I've ever said or did, usually I'll, like if I'm hosting people, need to get people drinks, I'll say something like, freshen your drink, governor. Like that's English. I can speak with a pretty good, I can do a Michael Caine impression. Hello, I'm Michael Caine. I can do that. I can do some fake English accents. Okay, I guess, but I don't know if I do anything English. Like I would have to have English people tell me, here's what you do that's kind of English. Because I don't drink tea. Don't like tea. I'm a coffee guy. I don't know. It would have to be my Paulo Di Canio West Ham United jersey. That would probably be the most English thing that I ever did, was buy a West Ham United jersey when Paulo Di Canio was playing for them. We got Pure Sparks in the room saying my favorite uncle. We got Rollo in the room saying, oi. We got Kyle Betts Badly saying, LOL agreed. How dare Hardwick's nose take a dive? It was the jaw that broke off, but either way, it was a shame. He was going to come back and win in the third. I tapped it saying, Unc, where are you? We got there. Fuck, Wheezy's late again, says Rollo. I'm taking the Wheezy money line at minus 140, says my guy Colby. We're laying a little bit of juice, but Wheezy's coming through this week. We're going to stack cash tickets like flapjacks, you guys. The over 22.5 minutes late hit says, I tapped it. How dare you? I was right on time. Official VOR says Hardwick more like soft bones. He's gotten served those two fights. We got Delgado saying, or High Owl saying, Delgado single-handedly cost me $100,000 to $18,000 parlay, Unc. I made the mistake of betting him minus 3.5. Not sure to psychologically recover from that. That's brutal, man, because that I thought he was going to get a finish there. The Greasy four-legger would have cashed if that one went under 1.5. It was a tricky week last week. I finished down 2 units, but I stayed very small on my bets. JWB saying, I missed the show last week. I hope you did well with your bets. Down 2 units last week, up 1.25 units the week before that. So kind of like bottoming out here, looking to kind of set a little bit of a floor after the losing streak at the end of last year, and then just start steadily going upwards here for the rest of this year. And ring a ding ding. Speaking of going upwards, we got JWB with the super sticker, $4.99 for his Uncle Wheezy. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for the donation to the show. You're always supporting here, and I really appreciate it. We got Rollo Tomasi saying, look at this suit, man. I'm pretty convinced Uncle Wheezy is just a vampire at this point, making UFC analysis on the side when he's bored. No, man, you could have found me walking outside in the sun today here in Chicago along the river, over by Belmont and Irving Park. I would have burned to a crisp if I was a vampire, dude. So no, not a vampire, but it feels like it sometimes. I don't leave this office nearly as much as I should. I work too hard. We got JWB saying, thanks for all you do, my friend. I truly appreciate the donation to the show, man, and the kind words. It means a lot. Beat Fanatic saying, the Hugh Hefner of MMA cappers. Appreciate you, Beat Fanatic. We got Dixon in the room saying, Prophet, I really want to bet the Luana Carolina round 3 TKO, but I have this terrible feeling my former cousin Melissa Dixon Sider might crumble in round 1 or round 2 if she doesn't get a takedown and gets touched up. Yeah, I don't think Luana Carolina has that kind of power, dude. She's not a big hitter, and she wasn't a big hitter at 125. I don't think she's going to be a big hitter at 135, but she is the better striker here. And, Melissa Mullins just seems a little bit reluctant to wrestle sometimes. So we're going to see if she learned from the obvious mistakes that she made in her last fight. Forrest Daniels saying, Uncle Wheezy, what is your most 4 confident picks to bet on for this UFC London card? I have 9 parlays between PFL Madrid and UFC London. I went heavy this week. I would say that my most confident picks would be Movsar Evloev. I like the overs in several different fights this week. I would say the over in the Axel Sola Mason Jones fight, the over in the Losine Keita Nathaniel Wood fight, and the over in the Aswell versus Riley fight. Those 3 overs, along with the Evloev money line, are spots that I'm pretty confident in. And then there's the ones like I think Baraniewski wins in round 1, but I don't want to lay minus 200 on something like that. I think Mario Pinto wins in under 1.5 rounds. That's a minus 160 for the under 1.5. That's not horribly overpriced, and I think he probably gets it done, but Pinto can be a little patient sometimes. Kondratavičius under 1.5 rounds, minus 230. That probably hits, but I think that there are better values on the card than paying up for the obvious shit this week. We got Shaky Days saying, 2 years ago, I used to recognize 90% of UFC fighters' names. Lately, I don't feel like I know anyone. Yeah, dude. And Yasser saying the same, dude. Yeah, they're bringing a lot of people in from the Contender Series for sure. RJT saying, I've made money betting on Laurent before, but sitting this one out, Movzar is too good. I do like MVP by decision, though. I'm with you there, my man. We got Beat Fanatic saying it's hard to keep track of 700-plus fighters. It really is, dude. It gets tricky. Trust me, man, I'm doing it. It takes a lot of work, dude. Rollo Tomasi saying I took Mullins money line. I'm on the Mullins money line. I'm with you there. We got dropping into the show to show some love, says my guy Dustin. Appreciate you, Dustin. Thanks for stopping in, my man. We got I hope the Scotsman pulls off the upset. He might, man. We got Yasser saying I went Luciano and AJ and PFL and Vucenic and Cage Warrior. Parlayed with them with MVP and Movzar. Out of curiosity, what did you pick in PFL? And Uncle Weezy, the Stat Digger and Fights Companions you do with Brother Brady are really fun. Stat Digger is going to blow up. Trust me. Your chemistry, intelligence, and comedy is unmatched. Yeah, we're hoping it blows up. And, you know, Underdog sponsoring the show has been absolutely huge for us. Code DFSBTN for Underdog Fantasy. You can check that out. Make your first $5 bet. You get $75 in bonus funds. Best way to support my show, Brady's show, Stat Diggers, the Fight Companion. We really enjoy doing it, but we give up a lot of time of our week. You know, think about just the Fight Companion and Stat Diggers is like 10 hours of our week. That's like 25% of a lot of people's work week that we kind of just go out there and we do that shit for free. You know, so getting the sponsorship has been huge, and hopefully it does blow up someday. Hopefully it does wind up, you know, the labor of love that we put so much work into winds up paying off financially one day. That would be awesome if it did. Prophet, speaking of Louis Sutherland, do you remember the smash hit Brother Louie by Modern Talking? You would not believe how many different languages and genres they flipped that song into. I don't remember that one. Modern Talking, I've never heard of, I don't think, and I don't know that song. Haven't heard that one before. Let's get it this weekend, says my guy, The Truth Hurts. We got Kyle saying, I like either fighter by sub round 1 for plus 450. Yeah, professional poker player. He is. He's a professional poker player right now. That's what he does with his life, you know. We got Rollo saying that Elijah Smith by KO TKO prop was so close to hitting last week. That was incredible. It can be so frustrating to bet props sometimes. Yeah, man, that would have been like that would have been another 1.25 units in wins for me because I lost 1 unit, or I lost a quarter unit instead of winning 1. I thought we had that for sure. Lazy Bed is in the room. What's up, Lazy Bed? We got Mantis wins by submission, says my guy JWB. That would be wild, but you know, maybe Trócoli's going to grapple him and then put his head into a sub. I mean, I could absolutely see it happening. Forrest is saying that his PFL Madrid picks are AJ McKee money line, Tenaglia money line, Campos money line, and the Shishano money line. We got Klaus saying advice from Wheeze is nothing to sneeze at. Good to see you hanging out in here, Klaus. Thanks for hanging out. So many fighters that don't belong in the UFC this week. I agree, but it is what it is, man. That's what the product is turning to. It's a lot more young fighters, you know, 14 fight cards, you know, where you know, it's hard to put 14. Like if you're doing 14 fights every week, that's 56 fights a month. That's 112 fighters just in 1 month. So you think about the average fighter fights every 5-6 months. You're going to need 600-700 fighters on the roster, you know, in order to be able to do the proper matchmaking and all that stuff. So that's what is happening now. We got Daz is in the room saying, hit the like, show some love. Appreciate you, Daz. We got 132 hanging out live. Yeah, check it out. Hit that like, hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment down below, and then check out what's scrolling down there. There's a link in the description of the video. Still 2 spots left to get your first membership, your first month's membership at 50% off, you guys. Carlos is in the room. What's up, Carlos? We got Daz saying, hope Pinto doesn't start thinking and just gets down to it. Yeah, I think that maybe Franco is going to put him in the position where he does just get him out of there early, because I think Franco is going to come after him. Rollo saying, yes, but Trócoli Broccoli is banging Mackenzie Dern. Not anymore, he's not, but he was. Kyle saying, all right. But Unc, what if Franco finally put it together Nacho Libre style? It could happen. It could happen, man. You never know, Kyle. I mean, like, this is a wild sport. Klaus is saying, slow down. Not anymore, Raleigh. He got dumped. Yeah, he does not. Yeah. We got Beat Fanatic saying, hopefully these massive favorites show why they're massive favorites and find quick finishes. Yeah, I'm not betting any of those juice to the tits KO props for any of these guys this week, but I do think they all get it done. Let's just see what happens. No joke, Felipe Franco lost to a gym teacher coming in on 3 days' notice. Pinto is going to fraud check this guy to a galaxy far, far away. Pinto money line, Pinto under 2.5. I like it. I think it's going to hit. Franco already got fraud checked on TWCS. He's ass, hot, steamy ass, and I couldn't agree more. Beat Fanatic. We got $10 on Nathaniel Wood, gets you $18 profit. Yes, it does. Yes, if he wins. Only if he wins, though. If he loses, it's a $10 loss. Profit is your handy-dandy patented Fraudometer 2000 going berserk when you bring it anywhere near a photo of Felipe Franco. Yes, it is. I see Galpao de Luta. I see demo fight on your Federa Chow fight. And then there's another one too. Like when I see these guys, when I see them here, let me save the picks and then go here real quick. The fight card. And where is he? Where is this fraud? So Franco fighting out of promotions like Mamute Fight Champion, Coliseo Extreme Fight, Qualify Combat, Pinedo Fight Night 3, got the 0-1 Luis Enrique in there, Jua Fight, Jua Fight, you got the 19-16 Nilson Dos Santos there, and then before that, it was 3 fights in Demo Fight Sheet, a Candelas MMA experience, and a WS fighting. So it wasn't until his 6th professional fight that he actually fought somebody that had won a fight before. And that guy quit after round 1. And then it was an 0-1 fighter, an 0-0 fighter, and then Freddie Vidal. So yeah, this guy had 8 fights. He was 8-0, and those combined 8 fighters had 1 win. We had one guy who had won a fight. And he won 18 of them. And it was obviously a much older fighter. Oh, God, yeah, he looks extremely old. 45 years old. The guy that he beat was 45 years old. Holy shit, dude. Yeah, what a fraud. This guy is absolutely a fraud. Rollo is saying, I was surprised when I saw the Wood money line. I jumped on it like a hyena. Glad you agree that the value, I mean, like the pre-flop the value's there, but I feel like there's something that I don't know about. $10 on Austin Lane gets you, if you bet $10 on Austin Lane, you will get $0 back. We got Dick's Insider saying, Profit, they just announced Nursultan Ruzaboyev versus Andrei Polayev. Early lean. Probably Ruzaboyev, but Ruzaboyev's been gone for a long time now, so I wonder how injured he is. I wonder how healthy he is. Yasser saying to Forrest, Campos, AJ Tenaglia should be free. The other guy, I don't know. The only risk is that Tenaglia is iffy in MMA. Beat Fanatic that likes the Pink Pounder to get it done. Yasser saying, but he should win easily by knockout. Dixon saying the Panther versus the Puma. Battle of the Felines. There we go. I like it. We got Rollo saying he's got Evloev, Page, and Wood money lines for now. I need a prop bet. Take Brando Peričić by first round knockout plus 380 Bet Rivers or Unibet. It's Toby is in the room saying FCC. His gym does well with grappling. Dagapool Dagapool as they call it in Liverpool. Yeah, FCC was the Pink Pounders promotion. So definitely not as high level as Cage Warriors. So interesting, like I said, just interesting to see how it translates at the UFC level. No. You don't compare Danny Silva with the JDM, man. I mean, like Jose Daniel Medina is in his own he's in his own category. A bit odd that Medina has a regional fight scheduled 5 to 6 months from now. Does he really? Yeah, maybe he got cut already. He probably must have gotten cut. CLD Moneyline has been spammed. He started at 1.3. He's now at 1.22, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's minus 500 on the money line here in the States. Dixon saying, Profit, there's rumors in the streets that it's the return of D1 Austin Lane. the mythical creature that dominated the Cuban destroyer and karate combat champion known as Robelis de Spain. I remember that. Yeah, that was not a fight people thought that Austin Lane was going to win. I truly don't understand why MVP isn't minus 350 here. Dude, I get it, I get it. I think this is a horrible matchup for Patterson. But Patterson can, if he can get a takedown and get to a dominant position, I could maybe see him finding a finish. Or if he can get takedowns in 2 out of the 3 rounds and avoid getting bonked, he might be able to win a decision as well. But I'm picking Page. I'm with you. Dyer, Duncan, Baraniewski wins. And yeah, you could parlay those 3 and probably get close to even money maybe. MVP will be aura farming heavy in his hometown. Yeah, he will. No disrespect to slippery Pete Barrett, but MVP is the slipperiest fighter in UFC. Second slipperiest. He's almost impossible to find. But I mean, if we're just talking about just like if it's the definition of the word slippery, it's Pete Barrett. He's the most slippery. My favorite money line this week is probably the Wood money line, and then from there it would probably be Evloev at minus 225. That around there, I think that's a great price. And then I also like the plus money on Mullins and Sola and Silva this week. Evloev points here is a no-brainer for me. I've been printing money on this guy forever. I'm with you, man. Doss is asking, how confident are you guys on MVP? I think it's a lock. Close calls along the way through SF, says my guy B-Negs. What's up, B-Negs? Good to see you hanging out in here. Stylistically, it's a good matchup for MVP. I agree because, Patterson's not known for his offensive wrestling. Rollo saying that it's a lock in my opinion. The difference in strength to schedule is huge. B-Neg saying definitely not a lock because the line should be higher, Das. We got Men of Culture, says my guy Gus with the flapjacks. Good to see Gus hanging out in here, man. We got Doss saying like MVP should be a heavier favorite, Rollo. SF is saying some sweaty moments for sure. And this one is risky in London, but I'm never scared to back elite fighters with my money. I hear you, man. It's always a good thing to do. That's why I'm backing the Evloev, especially backing fighters who always fight in a specific way that's effective. Yes. I don't know if he should be a bigger favorite because there's still a big age differential, but still a good number in my book, in my opinion, too. I feel like the UFC is just waiting and hoping for evil. I waited so long for a bet that I couldn't find for months, and I think I will do a large bet on Evloev and MVP. I like them both to win this week. Every fight where someone lands a spinning back elbow, yeah, that's for sure, man. We had 2 of them in Chicago when I was there. Protest landed one too. There are 10 fights when someone gets taken down mid-spin. Yeah, I know. That's what happens too, is like when it's a risky thing because you turn your back. And that's what I worry about for Christian Leroy Duncan is if he throws a bunch of spinning shit, and Dolidze times it, he might be able to get on his back. He might be able to get a takedown and get to a dominant position. The UFC is waiting and hoping for Evloev to lose. They never want him to be champ. Tread lightly. Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. But, I don't bet based on like what the UFC wants because it's down to what the 2 people in the cage want. Trin Video is saying the only thing holding me off MVP is part of his strength is people are not used to his style, but Sam trained with him, so he should be used to it, maybe able to get a lucky knockout, potentially. We got Rollo saying, Doss, I don't know about a big bet on Evloev. Murphy is flawless as an underdog and on his home turf. Just put 1 unit, he's saying. And Gus saying GBTT. I don't know what the GBTT means, but we got the Greasy 4-legger, which we got there. We got Profit. Where's this week's Take This Job and Shove It parlay? That is part of the probability stats and content package. We got a 4-legger this week that's coming out to I think about 36-1 this week. We got Fire Vajara saying, I've cashed with Wood before and I'll do it again, hopefully. I hope we both do, Fire, because I'm looking for him to win this fight. I think Evloev will dog walk Murphy, but I was shocked that MVP wasn't a bigger favorite. Feels like a trap. I think the Wood line is a trap this week, but I walked right into it. So we'll see if it cashes or not. I bet on both Oliveira and Oral Boy, and I was laughing my ass off, says Rollo. Yeah, man, dude. I mean, like, those were dominant performances. I had Oliveira, too. It was great. Glad to hear you're heavy on Movzar. I'm shocked his line is only minus 220. Yeah, I'm wondering what's going on there, man. There's been money coming in all day today on Laron Murphy. SF saying that's my exact take. I rarely find fights boring because I'm backing the boring styles and enjoying it. That's right, man. Couldn't agree. Beat Fanatic saying Sam is stuck in the mud. MVP flows like water. That's for sure. We got Sonny saying Wheezy, I agree. Campbell by decision. Yeah, I agree there too. I think he's going to relentlessly look for the takedowns and kind of just put Silva into a perpetual state of defending. But if Silva can land the bigger shots, you never know. The mustache shaving instead of the ass shaving, says Gus. Gene says he's going to sign to fight for the belt this week. I think they'll make Silva versus Volk in the summer. That would be really fun. As long as it's not Lopez versus Volk. Evloev might be the most jacked fighter in the UFC right now. He's got muscles on top of muscles. MVP decision, Movzar decision. Movzar fight goes to decision, and the MVP fight goes to decision are my two confident plays. There you go. We got SF saying, I'm more worried about Movzar accidentally finding a finish in a 5-rounder than I am of him losing. I know, dude. That's why I'm probably just going to play the money line. Either could happen, says Bean Eggs. I swear, Wheezy, I don't know what that I don't know what est simplement le meilleur means, but I'm surprised you are absolutely spot on with some of your analysis. I appreciate that, Rollo. We got Trin saying Laron the Miracle Murphy in London is going to have a miracle if this goes to decision. It could happen. It could happen, man. You got a lot of confidence, SF, for a guy who split decision to Nick Lentz. What year was that? Have you considered, Wheezy, that Laron Murphy, bro, he's the miracle? Yeah, I know he's the miracle. He's still got bullets in his head, man. How does this affect your capping? It doesn't. I watch tape and I look at the stats and I look at trends. Evloev goes to decision a lot. Yeah, every single fight. That's for sure. Thanks, Wheezy, says Carlos. Appreciate you. We got MMA enthusiasts saying, you reckon the Solo fight might be a split type fight? Yes, I do. I think it's going to be a very close fight. Evloev has been a decision 8 consecutive times. That's right. We got Let's Go Uncle, says the fight forecast. Good to see you hanging out in here. Let me know if you got any questions. We got Keith Offenlock saying Evloev with his first finish in forever, calling for a sub. That could be crazy if he gets if he get a finisher. It'd be wild. Uncle, can you say in French, Evloev va raser le cul de Laron Murphy? Evloev is going to shave the ass of Murphy. Evloev va raser le cul de Laron Murphy. That's I don't have a good French accent at all. It's terrible. SF saying I'm overconfident, LOL, but I don't see a path to victory for Laron here other than landing a nuke, and he can do it. He's done it before, but I think Evloev is going to show him that there's levels. Profit, it's on cards that we like this, that we miss cashing tickets on fighters submitting Molly meth ball, but she's a boxer now because she needs money from somewhere to maintain her failing lesbian bakery. Oh, really? It's failing? Is there not enough of a lesbian group of people to keep that up? I didn't even know she had a bakery. And I didn't even know a bakery could be lesbian. Like, how? Bakeries are just things where you bake things. Why would it be lesbian? You know? I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old. But did you see a path for Nick Lentz? I don't know what that means. The Pink Panther looks decent, man. Yeah, I mean, he looks good so far. Let's see how he looks at the UFC level, but I can't wait to see how that fight goes. Evloev versus Murphy plus judges. Yup. I would love to check out Molly's Lesbo Bakery, to be honest. Yeah, why not, right? If I was there, I'd check it out. Split decision, still cash. That fight was like 6 years ago. Guys improve, especially as they fight the likes of Aljamain Sterling, Arnold Allen, etc. Yeah, that's for sure. Evloev and Murphy still have a combined 16 out of 19 fights that have gone to decision in the UFC. All signs point to a decision, but those could be one of those weird ones that finish. Yup, agreed. Let's see. Officials saying most British thing I ever did was not brush my teeth for a few days when I ran out of toothpaste. Beanhegs saying with Evloev, you're hoping he gets the nod on the road and the UFC wants him to lose. Yeah, I mean, potentially. You never know. The judges are very corrupt. The nice Michael Caine impression. Hola, My name is Michael Caine. But that's all I can do, though. And Rollo's saying, thank you very much for the work. I truly appreciate you. Rollo, I'll try to say it in French. Merci beaucoup pour ton travail. Oh, God, it's bad. It's bad, dude. I'm terrible at French. We got Dixon saying, Prophet, I'm really hoping that in 2026 we get to see Brady drink the tea water made from the Douglas Silva de Andrade shirt. I'm sure that's toxic. I'm sure that's like he would get mold in his dude. He would die. He would die. Local man shakes fist, says professional might be a stretch. We got Dixon Cider, that is foul. Yeah, I mean, it is nasty. It's so nasty. We got Trócoli is a poker enthusiast, a part-time playboy as well. That's for sure. We got appreciate you, Wheezy, says River Tour. Thanks for watching on X. Thanks for commenting and always reposting the stream, River Tour. Love you, man. Thanks for being here. We got Reestafer saying thoughts on single entry DFS dogs right now. Look. So I like Melissa Mullins because she's got some grappling upside. I don't mind Laron Murphy as a punt because he's probably going the full 5 rounds. Abdul Karim Al-Selwady for me, if he makes weight and looks good, I think he's going to score some points. And Nathaniel Wood. I think Nathaniel Wood's a good look this week too. I think he can win this fight. Sam Patterson decision at plus 700 seems like value to me. Daz, I agree because like if he gets his grappling game going but is unable to find the submission, he could bank rounds just like Ian Gary did against him. So, but it depends. Do you think that Sam is going to be able to win minutes on the feet against him if he's unable to get takedowns in 2 out of the 3 rounds? That's where I think it gets a little bit hairy. VOR saying Franco is legit, man. He beat the security guard in my mall fair. Square 29-28, and I've not even seen a 12-year-old skateboarder do that yet. That's pretty impressive, actually. That's pretty impressive, man. Demo fight is a perfectly cromulent promotion. That is something that my friend group has used the term perfectly cromulent so many times. I love it. That got me a good laugh, Beat Fanatic. Thank you. Christopher saying, Wheezy, is that your pimp robe? This is my smoking jacket. Yeah, it's late night here. I got to get going though, you guys. I've got to get some food in my belly. I haven't even eaten dinner yet. So, but yeah, this is definitely the smoking jacket, my man. Bro Fight MMA is saying that Iwo's base is judo. Yes, it is. I know that he's a judo player. That's what my base was. That's what I grew up doing. Love judo, but not the best thing for MMA, but definitely good when you're in the clinch because those takedowns, having those strong hips, having that good ability to be able to get takedowns in close is huge. Let's see. Wheezy, Putin is live right now advising Russian oil companies to take advantage of the situation in the Middle East to lower their debt burdens to national banks. How does this affect capping Mavzar? Well, I think right now I would maybe wait on paying money to the banks because guess who owns all the banks? So they're at war right now. So I wouldn't worry about the debt burdens to national banks. I would worry about making a ton of money selling oil to people who need it, So I don't know why Putin is out there advocating that the parasite banks get their money back. So I don't know why he would do that. I like Mavzar here, but the market doesn't. The market keeps making Mavzar cheaper and cheaper. Forrest is saying, Uncle Wheezy, when Medina fights again, I'll let you know ahead of time, date and place. I appreciate you, Forrest. You got to keep me up on that, man. We got Ponzi in the room saying Murphy has bad takedown defense. Seems the UFC is trying to hand Evloev a title opportunity for free. He's never been good at stuffing takedowns, but he does usually get back up. Nothing better than cashing in on the fights with Wood. Couldn't agree more there, Beat Fanatic. Great stuff. AJ's in the room saying Mario Pinto to shave the sorry ass of Felipe Franco. I think he's absolutely going to do that, AJ. Molly Meth Ball says Beat Fanatic. PFL Real Madrid Friday afternoon. They made it to Spain before UFC. We got High Owl saying it was always going to be Movzar by decision. Yeah, I definitely agree there. And we got some Greek here. LRA Theo saying, "What's up, Uncle? It's good to see you. What's going on? Good to see you hanging out in here." Elado is what I always used to hear my grandmother and my Elado Michael. Rallo is saying, "Uncle, if you had to travel in one country with a budget of only 700 euro, which one would it be?" I'd probably go to Greece. I'd probably go to Greece because I might be able to find some family who might be able to help me out a little bit there. But I mean, if I'm going back to Europe, I want to go to Greece. I thought Italy was magnificent. I love France too. But I'd like to see Spain as well. I definitely want to see Spain. But yeah, probably Greece. Probably Greece, man. Hi, Owl saying random, but am I the only one who didn't know Melky Costa was born a black guy? I thought his vitiligo was just spots, but he actually lost his blackness. Yeah, he did. Like it's part of that vitiligo thing, his skin condition. Yeah, he did lose it all, man. Yeah, I did know that, and I think he took a lot of inspiration from Scott Jorgensen. Older MMA fans will remember Scott Jorgensen, somebody else that had vitiligo. Rollo Tomasi said, "I had a great time being live. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Rollo. Thank you for the donation to the show." We got Beat Fanatic saying, "Love a good Simpsons." I love them all, man. I definitely love them all. And ring a ding ding. You guys, Daz Files in the room saying, "Hey, brother, here's a small dono for your efforts on the Fight Companion with Brady." Thank you. Truly appreciate it, Daz. Thanks so much, man. I'm glad you guys are really enjoying the Fight Companion. Brady and I love doing it. And we've been getting signups for the Underdog, which makes it worth doing, makes it worth our time. So we love it, you guys. So thank you for supporting. Check out the link in the description of the video for the probability stats and content package. I know my guy, Dr. Peener, is going to do it. Good to see one of the best penis ER surgeons in the world, not just in the country, in the world being here. Big shout out to Dr. Peener. Big up yourself. You guys, thank you for watching. Let's stack cashed tickets like flapjacks for UFC London. We're starting early on Saturday. So get your bets in, get your reads in. Let's make some money watching these fights. If you want to support the work, like I said, the link is in the description of the video. 50% off your first month's membership to the Odds Shopper probability stats and content package, which gets you access to the stats package with the great profile matchup, all the stats that you could possibly handle, compared to each other and the divisional averages, the over-under betting model, the prop betting model, the fight write-ups, access to the Discord, access to all the tracked bets, access to Balls Deep breakdowns, a 2-hour full card breakdown show every week, access to Probability, a 90 to 120-minute plus EV prop betting show every week. You'll be part of the team. You'll be supporting your Uncle Weezy's work, and you'll get a treasure trove worth of betting information every single week that's going to help you make better decisions with your long-term betting for the UFC. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting. Hit that thumbs up on your way out. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment, and good luck on all your bets for UFC London. Take care, everybody.